Hey, Jojo here with the Art of Value again. It's Monday morning here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Totally different time zone to the US, for instance, so I'm able to reflect on the coming week. It's the US market opens like 1:30 in the morning my time, so I'm never really awake when the market's open, which is a good thing for especially for value investors who you don't want to see the flashing lights and the tickers really. So today I want to go back, just for a breather again, I want to go back to the Superinvestor portfolio updates that I've been doing. I've done two of these covering some of the investors I follow, some of my favorite investors like Lee Lu, Warren Buffett, etc. Just seeing what they've been buying in the last quarter because, there are tens of thousands of company stocks in the world, public company stocks in the world, and to narrow down the pool is a good thing just to see what our great investors have been buying, and not just cloning, but re-engineering, reverse engineering. That's the word. Reverse engineering how they did it. Why? Just asking the question, why? Why did they buy the stock? What? They must see something. What is it? And sometimes there's more than one. There's investors buying the same one. And so, not necessarily buy, as I said, last time, I'm more interested in the small caps, and there aren't many small caps that these fund managers buy because they've got such a lot of money to invest that it's not really worth quite often buying small caps. So, for instance, let's look. What am I up to? Greg Alexander. And one of the reasons I'm interested in to see what Greg Alexander's buying is, or the stocks. Conifer Management is the name of the firm. 872 million, nearly $873 million apparently under portfolio value. Only 11 stocks. So this is a guy that I think Warren Buffett was asked sometime of the investors that who he would invest with or who he respects coming up, and Greg Alexander, I think he mentioned. So, not a huge portfolio, 10, 11 stocks concentrated. So you'd expect Buffett to be in favor of that. And so, 11 stocks, 32% is the top position. Equitable Holdings Incorporated. I don't know what that is. Interested to find out though. JD.com, 7.4%. That is interesting. Chinese e-commerce stock. Is interesting to me. Yandex, which is a Russian kind of Google, I believe. And so that's the holdings there. But the activity in the last quarter, Q1 22, that's what we're interested in, and added 172.98% to Yandex, and 10% to Equitable Holdings, and any sales there. Rimini Street actually incorporated also 71%. I don't know what that is either. So interesting that, kind of some relatively obscure, not popular ones anyway. Liberty Media acquisition reduced 75%. Builders First Source reduced 16%. What else? Alibaba sold out. So keeping JD and selling 100% of Alibaba holdings. So that is significant. Interesting. So I've got something I prepared earlier. Yandex, if you're interested, is obviously Russia invading Ukraine and the sanctions against Russia. So, I mean, you can think what you like about buying Russian stocks at this time. Yandex this is a description from Guru Focus, which I use. Yandex is an internet and technology company and operating internet search engine in Russia. It builds products and services powered by machine learning. The company operates through the following segments, namely search and portal, blah, 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 Yandex Market, classifieds, market services, classifieds and other businesses, blah, blah, blah. Search and portal segment offers services in Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and which generates most of its revenue. Okay, so it's basically search, like Google. Google does a lot of other things. Alphabet does a lot of other things, but a lot of their revenue comes from search advertising. And let's see the market cap of, interestingly, 6.8%. So that's, a relatively small market cap, which I find interesting as well. I'm not interested in this company. I'm just interested to know what it is, what it does, and that he's bought it. So interestingly, Google Guru Focus basically indicates. I mean, this is just a rough indication. I don't go by these valuations. I do my own, but what 76, 78, 77% undervalued, or the price lower than the Google Focus value, 76. Wow. So it also says has a warning, out of date, use caution. Anyway, moving on. So Seth Klarman, always interesting. He wrote the book Margin of Safety, classic book. It's let me just put that up. Very very expensive book because it was a limited print, and I think you can get it on like eBay for, I think the last thing I saw, or on Amazon as a secondhand book. I think it was like 800 more US dollars, something like that. But I think you can probably find it as a PDF on the internet. Anyway, so Q1 activity. So the thing is, Seth Klarman has actually a lot of stocks with the group. 53 stocks, 9 billion in portfolio value, and go back to that. So 15.43 is the biggest position. So, the top stocks actually account for most of it. Liberty Global, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the eighth stock you go down, which is Fiserv, is 4.46 of the portfolio, and that's and then it goes down, down, down. Some of those positions are really small. But so the activity for the quarter, I'm interested to see this. Fiserv was 30%, and I hadn't really. I kind of looked at it quickly at one point, and I decided it was too big of a market cap for me, and let's see what the market cap is. So it's now 7.5 billion, so mid cap range, small to mid cap really. I mean, so people have different definitions for what's small and mid cap, but that's kind of mid cap in my book, So if it was seriously interesting or had some serious upside, I wouldn't be interested, but maybe it does. But the Dropbox interests me from him. Seth Klarman, Valpo Group bought Dropbox, added 30.5%. It's only a small position, but this is the kind of, I have heard various investors buying Dropbox and saying it's good, and I haven't looked into it. Owners count on Dataroma as two of these investors, in Seth Klarman and Lee Ainsley of Maverick Capital, but only a very small position, but increased it in the quarter hugely. Activity. So massive buys, not massive buys, but percentage wise. And Tiger Global, Chase Coleman, Tiger Global Management sold 100%. And Tiger Global Management, some of them have lost a lot, like kind of similar to ARK in a way, in the last 6 months to a year. So those were interested me of Seth Klarman. The Dropbox, Dropbox is worth looking into. I keep meaning I'm going to note that down and have a look into it, because it's not a large cap, I haven't brought that up here, but I'm not sure of the market cap, but I'm going to look into it. I'm going to look into that one. Alphabet, added to Alphabet, added to Liberty Sirius a little bit. All right, I think we're going to move on. That's kind of all that's interesting to me. Actually, reducing a lot. Lots of reductions there. Sold out of a few. Pershing Square, Tontine Holdings sold out completely. So that's Bill Ackman's investment vehicle, and that was not promised, but hoping to buy, is that the SPAC that was part of that? I'm not sure. I can't really talk about it because I don't know, but I did notice that a while ago that he bought into that, hoping that Bill Ackman would come through, and obviously no, they've sold out of that. kind of a more sort of speculative, perhaps. Grab Holdings sold out of that. Micron Technology reduced, not sold out, sorry, Grab Holdings down. Sold a little bit, 4.29 of Micron. I have that. Meta sold down a little bit. Okay, these are just small adjustments, like less than 1% adjustments on the portfolio. So not worth talking about. Let's move on. I want to do one more. So there's Dropbox. Okay, I've got it. I did get it up. Market cap, 7.58%. 7.58 billion. So mid cap in my book. Guru Focus says it's a possible value trap. Think twice. Okay. And 20-30% below value. So it's interesting. But I'm looking for smaller these days, smaller companies than 7.5 billion. But that'd be interesting to take a look at for sure. Fiserv also is 61 billion. I didn't realize it was that big, but that's a big market cap, and I wouldn't be interested in looking at that. Bill Miller's the other one who also has a lot of stocks. I believe Bill Miller's his son is into crypto and is in the business, I believe, in the game, as they say. But he mentioned retiring, or there were articles about him retiring. I don't know how much involvement he has these days. I heard a podcast by somebody who works for Miller Value Partners. I can't remember where. It was like an interview. It was really interesting. But they have a lot of stocks too. 88 stocks. It's a lot. But again, so the top stock, Amazon's 4.64. I think it's famous for he's famous for having Amazon really early on and holding on to it. But surprising to see they must have rebalanced if it's only 4.64%, or just had a lot of more money to invest in other stocks. But the top position being only 4.64%. It makes sense if there's that many stocks. That's a different kind of approach. Splunk is 3.63. Interesting. Google's 3.55. Baba is 3.43%. Meta 2.9%. Fiserv. Again, Fiserv. Right, so let's look at the activity, because there's just too many to think about there. You can have a look at yourself if you haven't already. And I'm going to wrap it up here soon, but just if anything catches my eye, okay, added a lot to Cleveland Cliffs Incorporated to 22,000%, but it's a percent change in the portfolio, 2.69%. Citigroup, added to Citigroup, just like Berkshire did. Farfetch, interesting, Farfetch, 40%. See, that's one that I've seen come up, and that's a $3 billion market cap. So it's kind of small cap, still in the small cap range. And it was in the bubble. Guru Value says another value trap here, like 75% below intrinsic value. But some of the any metrics can just throw that off in here, and it's just a really rough indication. But for me, it's interesting to just look at it briefly and say, is that worth looking at? Farfetch is interesting to me. It is. It has been. And I've heard on a podcast, a lot of women in their 20s kind of use it. It's I won't talk about it today, but it is an interesting company if you're interested in selling and reselling of luxury products, I believe. Or is that the real? I really don't know much about it, do I? So I'm not going to talk about it more. So I think Alibaba added to Alibaba. That's of interest to me. 23% added to Alibaba. Coinbase. They added 30% of Coinbase, so it's just a small position, but it's an interesting portfolio. It always is. Bill Miller is always interesting to look at. Uber, added to Uber a little bit. All right, that's all for today. I'm going to wrap it up now. So heading into the week, to the US trading sessions week. So it's going to be interesting this first day if we continue down or if there's a rally or what. The last week was incredible in terms of the volatility and ultimately down. I think it was the 8th straight week of losses something like that, or decline in the market and the indices. So interesting to see if that continues. It's heading towards kind of crash territory. That was kind of the worst since dot-com bubble, during the dot-com bubble. That's sort of losing streak. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, so remember, video is on YouTube and Spotify. Yep, video on Spotify, and catch me on Twitter at the Art of Value. All right, see you next time.